Depression and burnout, one of the common themes that comes up with depression, especially when we see people who are generally busy, competent, might have built up a business in their life, or might have a significant position at work, or just dealing with everyday life demands. And any dads, and certainly mums and others, are likely to have a fair bit on their plate when you look at the different roles that we have in life. Now, all of us have a certain level of stress or demands that we can handle, and that we can take it relatively in our stride or manage it at a push. But whatever stress levels that we have, if we've got a level of resources, a lot of strengths and abilities and coping skills that help us manage with a certain level of stress, if we've got even a very high level of coping skills, once our stress gets to a certain level, or the demands on us get to a certain level and then exceed that, that's when we start to get symptoms of burnout. Now, symptoms of mild burnout might be just temporary and not too disruptive. We might find that our concentration isn't quite as good. We might get a little bit more irritable, might take a little bit longer to get to sleep, might be a little bit less inclined to catch up with friends because we're feeling a bit busy and under the pump kind of thing. But the thing is, if the demands keep on at a very high level and outstripping our level of resources, then those symptoms that we get, the burnout kind of reactions, will tend to get more intense. So our sleep will be even worse, will be even more irritable, will become more withdrawn, might turn to alcohol to like self-medicate for stress levels, might tend to get more aches and pains or things like that. The thing is, everyone's got a different stress signature. Whereas some people, the first signs of mild burnout will be that their concentration goes a bit, or they feel a bit more irritable. For someone else, it might be they notice they start worrying a little bit more, or they take a little bit longer to get to sleep, or they start thinking they just haven't got enough time to do things in their day after day. So we've all got our own stress signature. And so when we go into mild burnout, just a little bit the demands are exceeding our coping skills or resources, then we'll get some mild, like occasional symptoms like this. Then if it keeps on going, they become more persistent. And then if we get really severe burnout, or it keeps on going for too long, it's more likely to overlap then with different kind of anxiety reactions and depression. So we see a number of people where they present as depressed, but where it started off quite clearly is that they've got burnt out. So, and that's been prolonged. And so they might have even got a new job. Or it might have been that now they're juggling the role of being a dad in addition to all the other things that they're doing. Or there might be some other demands that have increased. They have more demands or challenges in their family setting, or otherwise the usual help that they might have. A couple of important work colleagues might be away, or there's something else that's gone wrong for them. So the stresses have increased, and maybe the resources aren't there as much. Now, the importance of understanding that burnout pattern of depression. So as I say, people stay burnt out for a period of time, the stress levels are there, the anxiety is there. If it keeps on going unchecked, then people will tend to become clinically depressed with the sleep problems, maybe appetite reduces, low in mood, not able to get the same enjoyment from things, and that persists. So when people have depression that relates to burnout, it influences our therapy a little bit, because the main emphasis is to help either reduce the demands or bolster the coping skills, and typically both. So anything that people can do when they're a bit burnt out, anything they can do to contain demands, that's the first way of getting some kind of benefit. Now, is there a way of saying no to a few extra projects, or just focus on the main priorities for a while? You're not expected to do things quite as perfectly or ideally as usual. If you can cut a few corners that won't make too much difference, good. But containing the demands on oneself, and also watching out for one's expectations about having to be too ideal in your performance or whatever. So the other thing that we can do is bolster our resources. Draw on the supports around us. That can include being able to acknowledge to one's partner or friends about feeling a bit stressed in different kind of ways, and just take the pressure off about experiencing that, look to do something about it. But draw on our social supports. That's one of the main things that helps us deal with depression or any kind of mental health problem. Draw on our supports. But also if we can bolster our coping skills. And our coping skills in dealing with burnout will include things like ways of managing arousal or tension, so learning something like a relaxation technique or a meditation technique. Physical exercise is very good. That helps us get more energy. Also anything that we learn in terms of coping skills, in terms of our thinking, ways of helping think in a little bit more of an optimistic way can help. Not getting over caught up in thoughts about success versus failure or approval, disapproval, that's another area. So, but bolstering our coping skills in whatever way, and it also includes spending time on activities that recharge our batteries. For some people it might be, surfing. I know a guy that really busy with time, but he realised he needed to include a surf midweek as well. If he added in a midweek surf, even if he thought, hey, I haven't got so much time, but he actually got more energy and more relief and benefit from that, it paid for itself many times over in time. So doing things that recharge our batteries helps. And anything we do, bolster our resources, contain those demands, the balance tends to come out better, and then people's depression tends to resolve more quickly when you recognise that's the pattern they need to deal with. And then hopefully, if people get through a period of burnout thinking, what can I do to help prevent this happening in future, or make it less likely it'll happen, or that it won't last so long, or whatever. So people can learn, having gone through that experience, to help manage stress better in future.